What if your neighbor, your coworker, or even your partner wasn't entirely human? Some scientists and UFO researchers believe alien hybrids are living among us.
They were able to collect DNA from aliens.
Undetected, unnoticed, and blending in perfectly. Sounds wild? Let's talk about it. But here's where things start to feel genuinely creepy. If alien hybrids are real, how would we even know? I mean, if someone looks, sounds, and acts completely human, what clues are we supposed to look for? A weird vibe? Glowing eyes? Probably not. That's the unnerving part. If they exist, they're likely passing for us effortlessly. Now, this isn't just the stuff of late-night sci-fi marathons. For decades, researchers have been collecting stories from people who swear they've had encounters with beings that aren't from here. And no, we're not talking about the classic flying saucer joyrides. This goes much deeper. At the center of it all is a theory that sounds like something straight out of a dystopian novel. A long-running, quiet, and very intentional alien breeding program. Yeah, you heard that right. The roots of this theory trace back to the work of 3 researchers who basically became the rock stars of alien abduction studies: Bud Hopkins, David Jacobs, and John Mack. And Mack, he wasn't some guy blogging from his basement. He was a Harvard psychiatrist, Pulitzer Prize winner, the kind of person you'd expect to be talking about mental health, not Martians. And yet, he sat down with over 800 people who claimed they had alien encounters, and he didn't dismiss them as delusional. Instead, he listened. He asked questions. He took them seriously. So, if you're wondering why anyone would believe such a bizarre theory, that's why. Because when serious minds start asking serious questions about unbelievable experiences, it's worth paying attention. What these researchers uncovered flips the script on what we think we know about human evolution, and maybe even our role in the cosmos. According to Hopkins and Jacobs, this isn't just sci-fi or random alien curiosity. They believed it's a deliberate program to create hybrids, part human, part alien, with the final stage known as hybrids. And these hybrids aren't your typical bug-eyed extraterrestrials. They look and act so perfectly human, you could pass them in a grocery store and never know. That's the point. They're built to blend in without raising a single eyebrow. Now let's look at the actual abduction reports. Across countries and cultures, the stories share uncanny similarities. People describe being taken by strange beings, then subjected to medical procedures focused on reproduction. Men report sperm extraction. Women describe having eggs harvested or being shown hybrid children. These aren't just wild tales, they're recurring patterns. And when that many people describe the same thing, it's hard to ignore. And then things get downright terrifying. Many abductees say they've been shown hybrid children, supposedly their own kids, part human, part alien. Carrie, one woman Hopkins interviewed, described it like this. She suddenly felt something moving inside her, and then it just dropped out. When she caught it, she realized it was a fetus, not quite human, more alien than anything else. This isn't just one person's wild story. Hopkins saw this again and again. He said the whole point seemed to be creating a new hybrid species, a deliberate mix of human and alien DNA. Jacobs, who talked to over 1,000 people claiming abductions, calls the whole thing precisely orchestrated, with specific procedures happening over and over. So it's not random or chaotic. There's a plan behind all of this, and it's happening on a scale that's hard to wrap your head around. But if this breeding program has been going on for decades, where are all these hybrids? That's when things get really unsettling. According to David Jacobs, they're not somewhere out in the shadows. They're right here, blending into our neighborhoods, workplaces, and schools. Jacobs believes these hybrids aren't just hanging out unnoticed. They're part of a secret mission to slowly infiltrate human society. The idea is they're being trained, by abductees no less, on how to fit in so perfectly no one would ever guess they're anything but human. Then there's Barbara Lamb, a licensed therapist who's been working with people claiming alien experiences since the early 90s. She says she's done regressions with hundreds of these ET experiencers and knows about different hybrid types living among us. Some of these beings were even altered genetically while still inside their mothers. It's like science fiction mixed with real therapy notes. But it gets even weirder. Some researchers say these hybrids might not even know they're hybrids. The theory goes that many have forgotten where they really come from and need to be reconnected through occasional abductions. They're said to share some odd traits, always feeling a little out of place, maybe having strange abilities, or a deep, almost mysterious bond with nature and the environment. Then there's UFO expert Colin Saunders, who doesn't hold back. He claims these hybrids could be anyone, your spouse, your neighbor, even your mother-in-law. According to him, with humans pushing Earth toward disaster, aliens are planning to take over and save the planet. They're the secret army for that mission. If this sounds like the stuff of sci-fi movies, here's a twist. Oxford University is actually part of this conversation. Young Hai Chi, an instructor there, wrote a whole book exploring the idea that invisible aliens are creating hybrids as a way to tackle climate change. change. Chi suggests these extraterrestrials aren't just visitors. They're already living among us and have a real stake in stopping Earth from heading toward disaster. By mixing their DNA with ours, they hope to create a hybrid species tough enough to survive the harsh future climate that's coming. He doesn't have solid proof to back it up, but Chi connects the dots between the rising number of abduction stories documented by David Jacobs and the growing fears around climate change. The message? Aliens might be speeding up their hybrid project as Earth's environment gets worse. What's really fascinating is the kind of traits these hybrids are said to have, and they might not be what you'd expect. Researchers say these beings often show higher intelligence, creative talents that stand out, and a deep understanding of environmental issues that most of us can't match. Despite looking totally normal, they often feel like they don't quite fit in, like outsiders in their own world. Some are even said to have telepathic powers or a special bond with nature and the universe. Barbara Lamb noticed some patterns too. The people she thinks are hybrids have always felt different, often have strange abilities, and carry this intense drive to help humanity or protect the planet. Many don't get why they feel so out of place until they go through regression therapy and uncover what might be their true alien origins. So, if these hybrids are supposedly so smart and so many, why hasn't anyone actually pointed to one and said, that's definitely an alien hybrid? That's where the theory takes a wild turn, into invisibility. Some researchers think these beings aren't just hiding. They might actually be invisible to our normal senses. They could exist in parts of the electromagnetic spectrum we can't see physically here, but completely off our radar. Harvard researchers even tossed around the idea that aliens might be living in secret spots on Earth, underground or in remote, mysterious places like the Alaskan Triangle. This crypto-terrestrial hypothesis suggests that non-human intelligence has been sharing our planet all along, blending in or using some kind of high-tech camouflage. The Harvard team, while skeptical and calling the idea probably false, still says it deserves a closer look. They laid out 4 possible explanations: ancient human civilizations that survived disasters, non-human societies that evolved here on Earth, extraterrestrials who decided to stay, or magical crypto-terrestrials that might even cross into the supernatural. It's a lot to unpack, but it's exactly the kind of stuff that keeps this theory alive and kicking. So, why don't we hear about alien abductions or hybrid encounters as much anymore? Reports have dropped off significantly since their heyday in the 70s and 90s. Skeptics like Michael Shermer suggest that with everyone carrying high-quality cameras on their phones, the lack of solid photographic proof makes people think twice before claiming an abduction. But believers have a different take. They say this drop in sightings doesn't mean the hybrid theory is bunk. In fact, it might mean these beings have gotten so good at blending in that obvious abductions aren't necessary anymore. If the breeding program has matured, maybe the hybrids are already here, living quietly among us without the flashy drama of being whisked away in a spaceship. So, what's science got to say about all this alien hybrid drama? Well, let's just say the scientific community isn't exactly rushing to throw a welcome party. Most experts chalk up those abduction stories to things like false memories, sleep paralysis, basically your brain messing with you, and sometimes outright mental health issues. Even Dr. John Mack, the Harvard psychiatrist who took these stories seriously, admitted that hypnotic regression, where people remember their abductions under hypnosis, is pretty shaky ground. His colleagues weren't exactly throwing confetti either. In fact, after a review in '94, he kept his job but lost a lot of street cred. Then there's the DNA stuff. Some alien remains from Mexico turned out to have 30% of their DNA unidentifiable. Sounds wild, right? But experts say it's probably just a Frankenstein mix of extinct animal parts, not little green men. So yeah, science's take: keep your tinfoil hats on, but maybe don't bet your life savings on alien baby pictures just yet. So what's the truth? Are we really sharing our world with beings who look human but carry alien DNA? The honest answer is we just don't know. Despite decades of research and thousands of abduction stories, there's no solid proof that alien-human hybrids walk among us. The similarities in these stories might be real, or simply a mix of shared culture, media influence, and our imagination. What's clear is that this hybrid theory taps into deeper fears and questions about who we are, where we come from, and what the future holds. It challenges us to ask, how well do we really know the people around us? Could human evolution have a hidden twist? And if hybrids exist, what does that mean for humanity? Maybe the most unsettling part isn't whether the theory is true or false. It's how impossible it would be to prove either way. So next time you meet someone who feels a little different or almost too perfect, you might just wonder, could they be something more? Curious to dive deeper into these mysteries? Hit like, subscribe, and join the conversation below. Who knows what's really out there?